And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sheba Russell. Thank you so much for joining us for Facts Not Fear at noon. We begin with the latest on Georgia's confirmed cases of COVID-19. There are now 15,454 confirmed cases, 584 deaths, and more than 3,000 people hospitalized so far. The latest national jobs numbers are out today, and unemployment continues to swell. Another 5.2 million people filing claims last week, nearly 318,000 here in Georgia. That brings the total to 22 million in 1 month as the economy continues to take a major hit due to the coronavirus. Experts say it is easily the worst stretch of U.S. job losses on record. Tonight at 5 and 6, we're diving deeper into our state's unemployment numbers and the toll it's taking on families. Well, we know these numbers sound scary, and we know you've got many questions. So coming up, we're talking with our financial expert, Andrew Poulos. If you have a question you'd like him to answer, text us at the number on your screen. It is 404-885-7600. As the number of COVID-19 cases continue to grow, we're learning more about how the virus is spreading. And one Georgia health director says our elderly population are experiencing symptoms outside of what was originally reported. Nick Sturdivant has more.
It seems like each day we are learning more about the impact COVID-19 is having on our communities. Not only are we getting updates from the White House, but locally, counties are learning more about the overall impact COVID-19 is having. Recently, the Athens-Clarke County Commissioners held a virtual meeting. Dr. Stephen Goggins, District Health Director of the Augusta-based East Central Public Health District, spoke at the meeting. He talked about all things COVID-19. And one of the things he brought up was a pattern that doctors are starting to see with the elderly population. A lot of their symptoms are not the classic symptoms.
In the elderly population, we've seen a pattern that's really quite broad. Folks in nursing homes in particular may have only mental status changes, they may have confusion, they may have decreased appetite, prominent gastrointestinal symptoms. So a lot of times in the nursing home population, you get nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea as your presenting problem. Eventually, respiratory illness may be visible, but it's not this classic, you get a fever and then you get a cough and then you get shortness of breath.
And earlier this week, Governor Kemp said at least 80 long-term care centers had reported cases. And Dr. Goggins said that the goal is to expand testing and to bring testing to sites that were not initially hotspots.
All right, Nick, thank you. And some struggling families are getting a break here. Atlanta City Council approving a moratorium on all public housing evictions. Ryan Kruger with more on how many families are making tough choices.
The last thing that I need is my children and myself to be stressed out about worrying about if there's a roof over our head.
It's a stress that Wynn Mariah Bales feels every night. The single mother of 4 hasn't worked in weeks. She barely paid her rent in April, and now she tells me she's worried about having enough money for rent in May.
You don't pay, you'll get evicted notice.
A recent survey from ApartmentList.com found 1 in 4 Americans couldn't pay their full rent in April. But there's some help for renters, but certainly not all. The city of Atlanta has imposed a 60-day moratorium on evictions in the city's public housing, and the federal stimulus package signed by President Trump offers a ban on evictions in buildings that have received federally backed loans or offer Section 8 housing. The stimulus payments also went into many Americans' bank accounts this week, but Bales worries that still won't be enough.
We're going to have people that can work that are going to be homeless because this was not something that was planned.
Meanwhile, if you have a private landlord who doesn't fall into those other categories, experts say your best bet, reach out to them personally, see if maybe you can work something out financially.
President Trump facing heat on a global scale after halting funding to the World Health Organization. He's accusing the organization of covering up the severity of COVID-19 and mismanaging the pandemic response. Former President Jimmy Carter also weighing in on the matter. In a statement, he says, quote, he's distressed by the decision to withhold critically needed U.S. funding for the World Health Organization. The U.S. is the biggest overall donor to the Geneva-based organization, contributing more than $400 million last year. That's roughly 15% of its budget. Georgia is expanding its testing requirements yet again. Now anyone showing symptoms is eligible. Before this, some people with mild symptoms were told to just self-quarantine due to a shortage of tests. Mara Siriani is at a new testing site in Rockdale County explaining how you can get an appointment there.
Coronavirus testing here at the new site in Conyers is underway now. They have the resources to conduct hundreds of drive-up tests every day. Starting today, people who live in Rockdale and Newton counties are able to get tested for the coronavirus, all while sitting in their cars. To receive a test here, you don't need a doctor's referral. It's also free. You must, however, be showing symptoms. To make an appointment, call the number or head to the website on your screen. The whole process is estimated to take about 15 minutes, with results expected within up to 2 days or sooner. Health officials hope to eventually open up another site, just like this one, for Gwinnett County residents. Testing here in Conyers goes from 10 a.m. to 5 o'clock, and remember, you do need to make an appointment before showing up.
That's key right there. Continuing social distancing for a couple more years. That's one of the findings Harvard researchers made when looking at possible scenarios for how the virus could spread over the next 5 years. And based on the simulations, researchers say intermittent distancing may be required into 2022 unless a treatment or a vaccine becomes available. Well, it has been a way of showing solidarity for high school seniors who've been robbed of graduations. But there's a new warning against sharing your senior portraits on social media. The Better Business Bureau warning hackers are surfing through the posts, collecting information like high school names and graduation years. As you know, those are two common online security questions, so make sure your social media privacy settings are set to high so you're not giving away valuable information. They drive long hours to deliver supplies for all of us, but truck drivers say they're struggling to find places to eat and cleaning supplies for themselves. Christy Diaz takes us on a bumpy ride with some of the most essential workers right now.
If you can look behind me, there's my bed.
You want to talk about someone with a desperate need for toilet paper?
Over there in the corner with the orange thing, that's my porta potty.
Talk to a trucker.
We're oversized. We can't always park where there's a bathroom.
Steph Tatum drives heavy haul. He's the oversized load that needs several lanes to get by. He says one of the biggest frustrations is trying to find food, with many restaurants shut down.
It's just aggravating because you can only eat so many Subway sandwiches in 1 week.
There's not many places that we can park 63 feet of vehicle.
You also don't fit in a drive-through.
Absolutely not.
Danita Beasley was on a route from Pennsylvania to Georgia when we spoke.
We've been nonstop all week.
She mostly hauls pharmaceuticals and produce.
Have you had to do extra shifts or extra runs since that's been so in demand lately?
Yeah, I've seen an increase of trucks on the highway. I've talked to people, they've come out of retirement to get back on the road to kind of help out.
In March, the president waived the hourly restrictions for truck drivers, allowing for longer routes and quicker transport of emergency goods.
We work 14-hour days sometimes.
Barbara Floyd is a local driver. She makes a lot of deliveries to Publix.
How does it feel to be an essential worker at this time?
Well, I feel like I finally have a job that has a meaning because I'm needed now.
Even though they're the ones hauling the products, empty shelves are affecting them too. All three keep supplies with them, but sold out items like rubbing alcohol are affecting their safety.
I would normally use it putting in my brake system in my truck to keep them freezing up.
How many times have you gone looking for it and found an empty shelf?
Every time I've gone.
But they say they'll keep on trucking because they know what happens if they stop.
Understand that when we stop rolling, everything stops. Your gas, your food, your clothing, everything.
They are really going above and beyond, and we want to say thank you to all of the truck drivers out there and to all of the essential workers on the front lines. It is 12:09 right now. Still ahead, an error message for people trying to figure out the status of their stimulus payment. We dig deeper into the problem and whether it's fixed now. Plus, we're taking your money questions straight to our financial expert. Let us know if you have a question by texting us at 404-885-7600. And remember, text, don't call.